It is almost 2 in the morning. Your eyelids feel heavy. Your eyes are stinging from the glare of your screen, and your body is practically sinking into the mattress. You are exhausted, completely, undeniably exhausted. You know that if you just set your phone on the nightstand and turned over, you would probably fall asleep in seconds. You also know that your alarm is set for 6:30, which means every minute you spend awake right now is a minute you will pay for tomorrow in fog, headache, and quiet misery. You know all of this. You've calculated the hours 4 times already tonight. And yet, you do not turn off the screen. You swipe to the next short video. You scroll through posts from people you barely know. You read an article about something you will forget by breakfast. You aren't even enjoying it. If someone walked into the room right now and asked if you were having fun, you would honestly answer no. You are just sitting there, trapped in a low-energy haze, stubbornly refusing to do the one thing your entire body is begging you to do. And then comes the guilt. You tell yourself that you lack discipline. You call yourself lazy or irresponsible. You wonder why you do this to yourself night after night, making your own life harder for no apparent reason. But here is the thing you need to understand before you criticize yourself again. This isn't a failure of willpower. You are not staying up late because you lack self-control. You are staying up late because it is the only time all day that belongs entirely to you. Psychologists have a name for this behavior. They call it revenge bedtime procrastination. The word revenge sounds dramatic, almost aggressive, but it actually captures the quiet bitterness behind why your brain does this. Think back to how your day actually went. From the moment your alarm went off this morning, your time was not your own. You woke up to an immediate list of demands. You had to answer emails, meet deadlines, navigate traffic, manage relationships, take care of family, or answer to a boss. You spent hours adjusting your tone, filtering your thoughts, reading the room, making decisions, and meeting expectations set by other people. Every hour of your daytime existence was effectively mortgaged to the outside world. By the time you finally sit down on the couch or climb into bed late at night, you have spent 12, 14, or 16 straight hours living for everyone else. And your brain notices that, underneath your physical tiredness, there is a deep, instinctual hunger for autonomy. A need to feel like the master of your own life, even if only for an hour. And the late-night hours offer something the day never provides. 0 expectations. No one is calling you at 1:30 a.m. No one is expecting an email response. No one needs you to fix a problem, run an errand, or be cheerful. The world is asleep, which means for these few hours in the dark, you are completely invisible. You are finally, truly off the clock. This is where the psychological paradox takes hold. Staying awake isn't about the content on your phone. The phone is just a prop. It gives your mind something mindless to anchor to so you don't have to be alone with your thoughts. What you are actually holding on to is the feeling of time standing still. A small, desperate sanctuary where no one can ask anything of you. And there is a biological reason why it's so hard to break out of this loop precisely when you are at your tiredest. Self-control is not an infinite resource. It relies on executive function, a set of mental processes managed by your prefrontal cortex. Throughout the day, every time you resist a distraction, make a decision, hold back a sharp response, or force yourself to focus on work, you drain a little bit of that executive fuel. By 11 o'clock at night, your prefrontal cortex is effectively running on empty. And ironically, putting yourself to bed actually requires executive function. Closing down your phone, getting up to brush your teeth, turning off the lights, and settling into silence takes a microdose of discipline and effort. When your brain is completely drained, it lacks the residual energy required to initiate the process of going to sleep. So you freeze. You stay locked in place, choosing the passive comfort of doing nothing, because starting the bedtime routine feels like climbing a small mountain. There is another layer to this that most people rarely notice in themselves. Sleep, in a psychological sense, feels like a fast-forward button. The moment you close your eyes and drift off, the night is over. You wake up and suddenly tomorrow has arrived, along with the whole heavy machinery of responsibilities, noise, and demands that you just spent the entire day surviving. Staying up late is your brain's futile, illogical way of putting the brakes on tomorrow. As long as you stay awake, tomorrow cannot start. The dark, quiet bedroom becomes a buffer zone between today's exhaustion and tomorrow's obligations. You trade physical rest tomorrow for psychological freedom right now. It is a terrible bargain, and you know it. You are essentially borrowing energy from your future self at an exorbitant interest rate. But in the moment, when you are starving for a sense of control, that trade feels worth making. Once you understand why this happens, the way you look at your late nights changes completely. You stop seeing your late night scrolling as a sign that you are broken, lazy, or incapable of building good habits. You start seeing it for what it truly is, a symptom of a day that didn't leave any room for you to just exist. Trying to fix this with strict rules, phone locks, or lectures about sleep hygiene usually fails, because those approaches address the symptom rather than the cause. You cannot discipline yourself out of a deep emotional need for personal space. The exit from this loop doesn't begin at midnight with an act of raw willpower. It begins much earlier in the day. It starts by recognizing that if you do not claim small pockets of non-negotiable time for yourself while the sun is still up, time where you don't have to perform, produce, or please anyone, your brain will demand that debt be paid at night. You don't stay up late because you love the screen. You stay up late because you are looking for yourself in the dark. And once you realize that, you can stop treating your fatigue like a mystery and start giving yourself permission to exist before the rest of the world goes to sleep.